In this video, we're going to take a look at how to create ceilings within your Keystone Library building and set in some other things like lighting fixtures, as well as look at some boundary uh, lines that we need to keep in mind for stairs and for some of the openings. I'm going to go ahead and move to level 1. Level 1 is going to have our building here. I've added on a few different elements. I've been kind of working on this as a work in progress and just kind of showing and demonstrating some of the other tools that we have available. Within this model, I'm going to go ahead and choose the ceiling component. One of the things that will happen is that you can choose what kind of ceiling you want. You have three options: 2x2 ACT system, the 2-foot by 4-foot ACT system, or the acoustic ceiling tile is what ACT stands for. So it's the suspended mineral fiberboard ceiling that you see in a lot of office buildings and in a lot of schools and things like that. And then you also have the gypsum wall board on metal stud. So in a lot of cases, we can go through. I like the 2-foot by 4-foot, so I can choose it. Level 1 is the level that it's associated with, but the height offset from the level is set at 14 feet 2 inches, which is the top level of our interior walls that we set in a previous video. It's pretty easy to set in ceilings. You can either do automatic ceiling. So when you select an automatic ceiling, here's what it's looking for. And if you can tell, the orange outline, it's picking up around the outside edges. So if I go through and just click inside, you'll notice you'll get a little warning that says that none of these are visible right now in this view. If I go to the 3D view, and with that, now I can go ahead and hide this wall, hide in view elements, and I can see now here is the ceiling that was set in. So the ceiling does go all the way around to some of the ceiling does go around through some of the other elements, and it goes around the different columns and things like that. It does not open up for stairways or anything like that. We'll have to do that in another video in this scenario, but we can go ahead and take a look at that here in a moment. But here's the ceiling, and it does for the entire floor. So it always just looks for the inside of walls and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and delete this ceiling. If you wish to go through and have certain areas that don't have a ceiling, I recommend utilizing. You're going to notice it doesn't pick up the interior walls because our ceiling level is too high. So if I drop this ceiling level down to, let's say, 14 feet, now I can pick up this interior room because now the ceiling is bounded within that case. I can also go through and do the rest of the building as well. So your height does matter. I'm going to set this back at 14 foot 2. But the other thing that I can do is, rather than picking up this outside boundaries, I can also do the sketch ceiling. And when I do sketch ceiling, either I can pick walls. So here, like if I choose to pick the walls, it will move to the insides of the walls. Or I could also go through and draw in what kind of shape of ceiling that I would like to have. So I'm just going to go around and just pick these walls on this interior room that I have created. And some of the tools to help clean this up would be trim, extend to corner. So clicking on the items that I want to keep. And that'll trim those back to the corners that I want to have. And from here, once you have the sketch, much like other sketches, hit the green check mark. And when I go to now the 3D view, you're going to see on hide and view elements, you're going to see there's our ceiling component all put in there as well. So our ceiling with our suspended, you can see the divisions in the tiles for the mineral fiberboard. With this, I'm going to go ahead and go to level 1, but here, now that I go through and have that, I do need to expand my ceiling plan. So if they're collapsed, I'm going to go to the level 1 ceiling plan. Now you're going to be able to see this tile. So when I go through, if I need to make a change, I can select a line and I can also move this. So depending upon which direction that I want to do, you can see the grid adjusts to make sure that we have a 2 foot by 4 foot spacing. The other thing that we can do is we can always edit the boundary, go back and make some changes if we need to. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the green check mark. But anytime you make a line change, you don't have to edit the boundary for that. We can always go through and try to get a full tile in there. The last thing I want to leave off with in the ceiling is I want to go ahead and add in some lights. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Component, Load Family, and within the Lighting folder, within the Imperial Library, I can go ahead and choose Internal under the Architectural, and we want the Trofer Light 2x4 Parabolic. And so when I choose Open, I've already got this loaded. You're going to end up having a few different options. So I'm going to go ahead and you either have 120 or you end up having 2 lamp would be two fluorescent lights. 4 lamp has 4, and then of course the amount of wattage or voltage I should say that we end up having in this scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and do a 4 lamp 120, and then you can go ahead and place in your light. And I'm going to try to place, and if I need to, I'm going to kind of place this off center for right now. And to make sure that this is going to be aligned, I'm going to go ahead and select the item, choose the Move tool, pick the very corner, and then I'm going to align it to the corner on the tile, and then that way I do have it set right inside, which is just like what we have in a lot of ceiling designs. A really neat feature is if I want to make a pattern of ceiling mounted lights in this room, I'm going to go ahead and select the item. Under the Modify panel, I'm going to choose Array. And Array, when I choose that option, allows me to, so here I can choose the number. So I'm going to first off choose what endpoint that I want to go to. So I want to go from click, and I want to skip one of these tiles, and I want to go to the next one. And when I do that, I can set in how many that I want. So for example, if I want to do 5 and hit enter, I can set in 5 of those lights like this if need be. Or if I ever select the first light, I can always say edit the group. Or excuse me, not edit group, hit cancel. And I can always go back and make some changes. So I'm going to go ahead and hit escape. Actually, it's getting covered up by our light here. You'll have a number here that pops up. Maybe we only want 4, and I can go through and kind of make some of those changes if I need to. So, and if I need to adjust the spacing, I can activate the dimensions, and then that'll also allow me to go through and make some changes as well. So we'll go ahead and hit escape, but what you can do is I do have these 4 lights. If I select, I'm going to hold down Control and select all 4 of these lights. I'm going to array one more time, choosing the point I want to go to, and in this scenario I'll pick the next corner. And let's see if we can get 4 of these lights in here. Looks like 4 is going to be just a little bit too much. Here's my 4. Let's go 3. And now you can go through and have those lights set in. So we'll go ahead and go to level 1 floor plan. And when I go and hit the view, and I'm going to hit the drop down and throw a camera in there. Go ahead and set a camera inside of this room. Set up another 3D view. Now within the different views, I can always expand. And now you can see all the lighting and everything inside of there. So there's your fluorescent lighting that is put inside of the building. This video concludes how to set in ceilings and do some of your lighting, and as well as going through and creating some different areas of your building that maybe you want to have an open ceiling or maybe not. So, and that's how you go through and do that within your Keystone Library design.